This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. From streaming to shopping, Prime helps you get more out of your passions. So whether you're a fan of true crime or prefer a nail-biting novel from time to time, with services like Prime Video, Amazon Music, and fast free delivery, Prime makes it easy to get more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Dogfish Head Craft Brewery. The Grateful Dead and Dogfish Head have gotten the band back together with the release of Grateful Dead Juicy Pale Ale, a light-bodied pale ale brewed with sustainable Kernza grains, granola, and heaps of good karma for a refreshing brew that's music to your taste buds. Available nationwide. Visit dogfish.com to find Grateful Dead Juicy Pale Ale in your neck of the woods. Dogfish Head Craft Brewery is located in Milton, Delaware. Please drink responsibly.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Buying a car shouldn't eat up your week. That's why Carvana made it convenient. Car buying that fits around your life, not the other way around. You can get pre-qualified for an auto loan in just a couple of minutes and browse thousands of quality car options, all within your terms, all online, all on your schedule. Turn car buying into a few clicks and not a full week's endeavor. Finance and buy your car at your convenience on Carvana. Financing subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply.
Hey, Olivia from Ollie here to help you ease into all things back to school. Homework, meal prep, and pickup duty piling up? Goodbye Stress Gummies help you keep your cool. Start the day with Kids Multi and Probiotic for digestive and immune system health. They'll love to take them, and that makes mornings easier. When back to school gets real, Ollie helps you deal. Find these and more at ollie.com or retailers nationwide. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network, and you can follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/@RamsUpPodcast. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined often by my football guru, Ian, along with a bunch of other friends of the show on occasion. Let's get to it. Hey, what's going on, Ram fans? Mark from Rams Up. Hey, shout out to Ian for covering these 3 preseason games. I had some other stuff going on, had some scheduled stuff that I dropped, but most of the last 3 weeks it's been all Ian. And shout out to him. I think he did a really good job wrapping up these games. Now we got the preseason behind us and decision time for our LA Rams. And I'm going to take one last hack at the roster. And we're going to find out soon enough what it's actually going to look like. I'm going to do it a little bit differently this episode this year. I'm going to walk you through my decision-making process and tell you what I might do, tell you what I think the Rams are going to do at the end here. And I don't think there's a lot of decisions to be made, actually. I think some good players are going to hit the street. And there's just no way around it. You can't keep all these guys, and we're going to be disappointed with some of these cuts, waivers, and such. And, we'll see how it pans out. And it's especially difficult with our Rams. Now, guys don't play in the last preseason game. That usually means they're on this roster. But then the one thing we don't really get from our insiders as much is, hey, our guys just dinged up and they're holding them back for that reason. But for the most part, we can learn a lot from what we saw and didn't see in that last preseason game against the Cleveland Browns. And before we get started, the Rams did just waive some players, and I'll share that with you. Waived a bunch of players and released one. The players waived, including quarterback Dresser Wynn, tight end McCallan Castles, safety Malik Dixon-Williams. I thought he had some moments in this preseason. Offensive lineman Ben Dooley, defensive lineman Decarius Hawthorne, offensive lineman John Leglu, offensive lineman Mike McAllister, the fireman. I didn't even realize he was on this roster. I knew he was last year. At some point they brought him back, maybe just to needed someone to get some snaps at center, and so they brought him back apparently. Outside linebacker Josh Piercy, defensive lineman DeJohn Terry, and offensive lineman Trey Weddick. They were all waived. Now, Tony Fields, 4-year plus veteran, was released. So they all, for all intents and purposes, become free agents. Those guys that hit the waiver wire, we'll see if anyone picks them up. I don't know if any of these guys are going to be practice squad candidates. I'm not going to get into that this episode. We have enough to talk about. So let's walk through this. What am I going to do first? Let's walk through the guys that I think are locks. And when I say locks, I use that word a little bit loosely. Would I bet $1,000 that all of these guys are going to be on the 53? Absolutely not. $100 maybe. There's going to be some surprises. There always are. And I'll talk about two guys that could be surprise cuts. I hate to predict that stuff because, I don't know. It just doesn't give me a warm fuzzy to be predicting the end of a player's career with the Rams. But I will mention at least two guys I think that could be at risk here. So the locks on offense, quarterbacks, they're carrying 3. Last year it was only 2. This year, Stafford, Jimmy G, and Stetson Bennett. If you'd asked me 3 weeks ago, I thought Bennett was a long shot, but between Stafford's back and the way Stetson has played, I think they keep 3 quarterbacks. Running backs, Kyron, Blake, and Jarquez. Now, don't get too spun up about names missing here. That doesn't mean I'm going to add a running back, but these are just the locks at this point. And at the end, we'll get to a handful of spots that'll be available and how they might fill them. Tight ends, Higbee, Ferguson, Parkinson, and Allen. And, I'm just going to do this kind of organically here as I go. Parkinson is a guy that my special assistant, who knows everything but prefers to remain anonymous, he actually sent me his 53-man roster, and I kind of built off of that, made some changes. But then we were thinking, is Parkinson at risk here, or even possibly Davis Allen? They one of those could be a surprise cut. I don't know if it makes sense, and I'm not predicting that. But if with Higbee getting up there in years and this leaning towards 12 personnel that we've been hearing so much about, I think they keep all 4 of these tight ends. Moving on to the other positions, wide receivers, Puka, Devontae, Tutu, Whittington, Mumpfield, and Xavier Smith, I think. Now, prior to this game against Cleveland, I was leaning towards Brendan Presley. I would love to find a spot for him on this roster. I think he's a super excited player, but I think the Rams obviously have a lot of comfort, a big comfort zone with Xavier. He did not play against Cleveland, unless it's because he was nicked up. We'll never know, I guess, but I think that is an indication that these are our 6 guys, and Xavier becomes our primary returner, one of our primary returners. And Britton Covey, we were excited about the signing of Covey, and his name is not going to pop up here on these locks, as you've probably figured out by now. Tackles, Lyric Jackson, DJ Humphries, Rob Havenstein, and David Quisenberry. Now, Havenstein and Quisenberry are obvious because Havenstein, the starting right tackle, Quisenberry will be a primary backup at hopefully just right. And then you got a Lyric who, after this 53 is announced, he will be promptly put on IR, I believe, so they can bring him back after 4 games, possibly longer, of course. And then DJ Humphries, I presume, is the starter. And my special assistant, he thought, hey, he questioned, is there a possibility they just roll with Quisenberry and Havenstein? I don't think so. I think DJ is a starter and Quisenberry the primary backup, although we'll talk about Warren McClendon here in a second. So they are carrying 10 offensive linemen when you count these 6 interior offensive linemen: Steve Avila, Coleman Shelton, Kevin Dotson, Bo Limmer, Justin Dedich, I think makes the roster. And McClendon, I have him listed as an interior offensive lineman. Think of him as a swing guy. He can basically play 4 of the 5 positions, and that makes him so valuable. Now, 10 offensive linemen, that will quickly become 9, I am predicting, and then they will add a player on defense. And this is where it gets a little tricky, as I suggested in the short I published a few days ago. I think the strategy here will be to expose a player by waiving them, that they intend to bring back most likely a player on defense. And so you have to figure out, the Rams will be considering who is a player that we really want on this 53. But if they get picked up by someone else, it won't really rock our world too much. And we'll talk about some candidates for that at the end here. Moving on to the defense, I have Poona Ford, Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk, Davis and Hamilton, Ty Davis and Tyler Hamilton, 5 defensive linemen, very likely a 6th as well, but these are my 5 locks. And, I've heard that some people aren't overly impressed with Hamilton's play. I don't think they waive him, though. He'd obviously be scooped up by someone. This is a guy the Rams traded up a little bit to grab him. So, yeah, give him some time. He'll stick on this 53, I think. But I think he is a guy that has some proven to do for sure. And then on the edge, I list 3 guys as locks there. Outside linebacker, edge rushers, Jared Verse, Byron Young, and Josiah Stewart. There will, of course, be at least one more. And then inside linebacker, Landman Spates, Pooh Paul, and Sean Dolak. I believe Sean McVay gave it away after the game that Dolak has made this team. And, there's a name or two not on this inside linebacker list. We'll talk about it here in a minute. Well, one especially, who could be a pawn in the Rams' strategy when it comes to the 53. Now, moving on to the secondary cornerback, I have 5. Akilla Witherspoon, Darius Williams, Kobe Durant, Emmanuel Forbes, and Josh Wallace. And then 4 safeties, Cameron Curl, Cam Kinchins, Jalen McCullough, and Quentin Lake. And Lake, I understand, let's just call him a DB, but he really is such an advantage to have a guy like Lake that can kind of play. Well, he can't play as an outside corner, but he can play that star nickel position. So, if something happens to one of our starting safeties, they just slide him back. He'll be on the field a lot, along with the 2 safeties. So a little thin at safety numbers-wise, but I think we'll be okay.
This episode is brought to you by Wayfair. Podcasts follow us everywhere. Whether you're cooking in the kitchen, chilling in the living room, or pretending to fold laundry in the bedroom. And with Wayfair, every one of those rooms can tell a story of its own. Their curated collections of furniture styles and prices make Wayfair the trusted destination to turn your home into your happy place. Shop everything home at wayfair.com with free and easy delivery straight to your door.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
I'm 32, juggling family, working full-time, and earning a bachelor's degree. At University of Phoenix, I earn career-relevant skills with every 5-week course. Skills I can use now, not just after graduation.
Earn skills in weeks, not years. Visit phoenix.edu.
The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox is on Hulu. In 2007, Amanda Knox was studying abroad in Italy. She had no idea her dream would turn into a nightmare. Inspired by the actual events of her wrongful conviction and 15-year fight for freedom, watch the new Hulu original series, The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox. Now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply.
Discover Ralph's Club New York, the new fragrance by Ralph Lauren. With blackcurrant, vanilla, and sandalwood, this scent embodies the sensuality and confidence of Usher. Like the city that never sleeps, this masculine fragrance lasts for 12 hours. Ralph's Club New York. Ralph Lauren. Shop now at Macy's.com.
So let's look at what I have so far as I walk through these groups. Quarterbacks 3, running backs 3, wide receiver 6, tight ends 4, and offensive linemen 10. That's 26 players on offense. And that'll quickly become 25 when they put Alaric Jackson on IR. That's my expectation anyways. And then the defensive line, we had 5, could become 6. Outside linebacker, 3 could become 4. Inside linebacker, 4. Cornerback, 5. And safeties, 4. Adds up to 21. So we have 47 players so far that I'm calling locks, sort of kind of locks, right? And then the 3 special teamers, Ethan Evans, Joshua Carty, and Alex Ward, for 50 total players. So we have 3 spots to figure out. And what are we going to do? Who are the guys fighting for these last three spots? And the one thing we can say for sure, one of them has to be an outside linebacker, right? That's one thing we can, looking at this list, that's the one thing I would say for sure. And I think we might need an additional defensive lineman as well. But Rams can be flexible here. They're going to pick guys that are special teams, that have special teams value and long-term growth potential. A lot of young players on these lists. So the decision-making process, I just threw up some thoughts here to keep us all on the same page. I think Ronnie Rivers and Willie Lampkin will go to IR. I don't think they can keep Willie Lampkin, the one we probably really care about. A lot of Ram fans really excited about him. I just don't think they can keep him 2 offensive linemen on the initial 53 with the intention of bringing them both back. That would mean exposing an additional player that you intend to bring back. So I don't think that's going to happen. Does Reeder make this roster? Troy Reeder, apparently he is. And one thought on him is, as I was working through this, and I'm just guessing here, but Troy Reeder is a guy they could leave off the 53. And if they really love him, bring him back. But if someone else grabs him, so be it. Troy Reeder is a guy that Chris Shula and Sean McVay obviously love. And I don't know how this goes, how this can go down, but I would think you could go up to a guy like Troy Reeder and say, Troy, you're not on the initial 53. We're bringing you back as soon as we put a lyric on IR. Someone else swoops in and gives him makes him an offer. I just don't think Troy Reeder would be interested. I think he's going to stick with the Rams in that situation. I don't know. Maybe someone else has lost a couple of linebackers and he sees an opportunity to get a bunch of playing time. I don't know. But that was just a thought I had. Troy Reeder seems like the ideal candidate to leave off the 53, expose him, maybe lose him, and then bring him back if no one grabs him and if Troy Reeder decides he'd rather stay with the Rams. And then, we have that outside linebacker situation. I only named 3. There's going to be 4 and possibly 5, and the 2 guys battling, Brennan Jackson and Nick Hampton. Now, Nick Hampton is a special team stud. Brennan Jackson, they have to be a little disappointed at him or a little dumbfounded with his slow development, but he did start to make some splash plays against second stringers, or it might have been against first stringers the previous week, but nonetheless, still playing into the 3rd preseason game. What does that mean for Brennan Jackson? Both these guys, former 5th round picks, actually, Brennan Jackson and Nick Hampton. I think one of them makes this roster. I might lean towards Hampton, just for the special teams value, but I'd hate to lose Brennan Jackson. But hey, Sean McVay and Chris Shula know best. And then Murchison or Deshaun Johnson. There are some undrafted free agents as well that could probably not actually. I think most of them already released, waived. But maybe they could roll with 5 from the get-go, or maybe they keep Murchison or Deshaun. Murchison did not play against Cleveland. That's a possible hint. But Deshaun Johnson has played really well when he's had his chances at the end of last year and this year. And is A.J. Green a 6th cornerback? There's some other guys that had the potential as well. Cam Lampkin being one, Sean Jolly, Charles Woods. And this is a situation where maybe you leave that 6th cornerback off with the risk of losing them entirely, but allows you to keep another guy that is going to go on IR immediately, a Willie Lampkin, for example. But I don't think that's the route to go. I think they add a 6th cornerback from the get-go, and as I suggest here, probably A.J. Green. And then, as I've already talked about, Alaric Jackson to IR after the initial 53 is announced. And that's just speculation on my part. I don't have access to these inside discussions, medical reports and such, how they're feeling about his eventual return. Can't see him starting week 1, right? But maybe week 5? We'll have to see. So what are we doing here with these last 3 spots? These are my picks for those final 3 spots. I'm going with 2 outside linebackers, Nick Hampton and Brennan Jackson, as well as Laurel Murchison. And then Alaric goes on IR. You bring back another defensive back. And my predictions for what the Rams are going to do, same, except I think they only keep Hampton and not Jackson and bring back Troy Reeder. I just have a feeling they're going to do that. One way or another, Troy Reeder ends up on this roster. So hopefully that isn't too difficult to follow. I got 50 guys I think are pretty locked in, with a couple guys I'm a little kind of second guessing, the Cody Parkinsons and DJ Humphreys of the world. I don't think they can afford to let go of let DJ Humphreys go, move on from him already and rely on McClendon and Quisenberry. It does that. I'd feel much better if DJ Humphreys was over there, but a couple of guys. There's going to be a surprise cut. There always is. So my predictions again: Hampton, Murchison, and Jackson to get us to 53. Put Alaric Jackson on IR, bring back another defensive back, maybe someone like Charles Woods. And then what will the Rams actually do? I think they keep Hampton for his special teams value, Murchison, and Troy Reeder. So that leaves some really good players vulnerable, are going to be waived and hopefully brought back. But as my special assistant was telling me, I think the Jags are going to be all over some of these players. I think Mina Kimes said that during the broadcast, the Saturday broadcast as well. Cody Schrader, we loved what he did. I thought Jordan Davis was just as impressive in this finale, though. Who knows what's going on in camp? But we see during the preseason games, Cody had a couple big runs, but other than that, not room on the roster for him. Jordan Davis, and by the way, I would hope all of these guys end up on our practice squad. Jordan Davis looked really good too. True Edwards had some moments. Dylan McMahon, the former Eagles draft pick. Britton Covey, is it Covey? McCovey. William McCovey. Let's go with Covey. Britton Covey. We initially thought, oh man, here comes our next returner, but I think it's going to be Xavier. Don't see us carrying both of them. I would take Presley just excites me a lot more. Darion Kendrick hitting the streets, Charles Woods, Deshaun Johnson, Tanner Ingle, the missile, man. He was probably the highlight of this Browns game, just flying all over the place, and didn't really talk about it, but he has an outside chance of making this roster, if they were to carry Ingle over AJ Green, for example. But I think it's going to be Ingle, and hopefully makes it to our practice squad. And then Nate Valcarcel, a guy I've been pumping up a little bit. Jordan Davis and Nate Valcarcel, guys I'm probably pumping up a little too much. I don't have a lot of eyes on observance to rely on here. Just a gut feeling, reading through the weeds, the other reports, how these guys are playing in camp, and watching college film on Jordan Davis and Nate Valcarcel. I thought they both had a chance. But hopefully all these guys end up on our practice squad, 17-member practice squad. And here's 10 guys that I think have a good chance of ending up there. Some of them are going to get claimed. I wouldn't be surprised if Darion Kendrick, Deshaun Johnson, Tanner Ingle, Cody Schrader, anyone that's got a banged up running back is going to jump all over Cody Schrader. Hopefully none of these guys ends up with the 49ers. It's always a little scary when that happens. But there you have it. There's my annual roster prediction. Getting it out late. We're going to find out for sure in the next couple of days. Rams will probably still be releasing, waiving players bit by bit here. Maybe some additional players waived by the time you hear this. We will be back in the next couple of days, definitely after this roster work is done. We'll get that to you really quick. Hopefully Ian and I can sync up for that together. That's all I got. Hope you enjoyed that. And mention in the comments, you think I'm missing something here. It's very possible I did, or I have missed someone, missed something, overlooked a player, got something screwed up here. I do that occasionally, as you know. Guilty as charged. Let me know in the comments. Out here from Rams Up.
Some people think nature is like this, but actually, it's like this. That's why Columbia engineers everything we make for anything nature can throw at you. Columbia, engineered for whatever.
That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.